What's up guys, it's the Sound Alchemist, and today we are back at it with more Warhammer 40k lore. This time, we are going on to Titan, and we are giving you lore on the Grey Knights. Matter of fact, we will be doing lore on a single character by the name of Garran Crowe. So ready your Nemesis demon weapons as we dive into 40 facts on Garran Crowe. Castellan Garran Crowe is both head and Brotherhood champion of the Grey Knights Order of Purifiers, a position bestowed upon him for his unquarreled purity of mind and purpose. Even among his gifted brothers, Crowe is unique, for his presence in the warp is a burning white flame that purges anything that touches it, or tries to subvert him with its taint. And as a raw recruit, Crowe displayed a resistance to the warp that would take most Grey Knights decades to develop. Some of the Grand Masters believe that Crowe embodies a dormant strain of the chapter's gene seed, a piece of the Emperor that has awoken and taken root within him. It is this quality that grants Crowe a unique perspective on the world, as he does not see chaos as others do. To Crowe, the immaterium is as water flowing over reality, cool and deep, with demons flitting like shadows beneath the surface. Crowe's singular incorruptibility has marked him out not only to lead the Purifiers, but also to bear the chapter's most precious relic, the Black Blade of Antwer. A demon sword, ancient beyond imagining, the blade first came to the attention of the Grey Knights when it was discovered by the servants of the Blind King. The sword was so named as it was found by the apostles of the Blind King in the ruins of the Temple of Antwer, a cursed place dedicated to a savage and heretical god. With the power to grant the wielder control of all who gaze upon him, the blade's bearer led legions of heretics and madmen across Vidar, Tremaine, and Darkspire sectors. Only the intervention of all 8 brotherhoods of the Grey Knights was finally able to destroy the demon host in a cataclysmic battle. As for the sword, it fell to the floor amid the blood and corpses of that terrible conflict's aftermath, only to slip out of time and space and vanish before the Grey Knights could recover it. Over 3,000 years later, the prognosticators foretold of the blade's return, and this time the Grey Knights were ready. On the moon of Tethys, the sword was taken, its vessel slain before Antwer could fully possess him, and was borne back to Titan. For days the Grand Masters debated the fate of the blade, unable to find a means to destroy it, and fearful that abandonment or imprisonment would merely give the demon within a chance to lure a fresh host. So it was that the Blade of Antwer was placed in the hands of the Purifiers, as only they possessed the strength to resist corruption and ignore the malign whispers of the demon trapped within. For centuries, it has been passed from one purifier to the next, the order always choosing the strongest among them to bear the burden, and so it came to be wielded by Garran Crowe. The Blade of Antwer is as potent an artifact as the Grey Knights have ever possessed. Some within the chapter speculate that this blade is more than merely a demon prince or greater demon. Perhaps it could be the last surviving fragment of an ancient god. Men standing too close to the wielder are driven mad by the constant whispers and lies of the sword, as it twists and turns their thoughts against them. Only the Grey Knights are able to resist its words, and even then only for a time before they too feel their wills being bent and buckled under the onslaught. Remarkably, Crowe alone seems immune to the effects of the blade, though it is known that Antwer speaks to him too. Part of the Castellan's duty as a guardian of the sword is to record the blade's words, in case there may be some piece of forbidden knowledge or clue to its weakness hidden therein. So far, vaults filled with tomes of lies and curses have yielded little of apparent worth, though Crowe continues undaunted. Crowe is never without the Blade of Antwer, and always has one hand placed upon its hilt, lest the weapon try and escape its captor. At first, Crowe carried the sword upon his back, or kept it sheathed and hung on the wall of his personal chambers. More and more often, Crowe would discover the sword had moved when his back was turned, or had slipped free of its scabbard. In combat, this could have proven disastrous if another had laid hands upon the weapon, turning them into the next sword host. Even other purifiers are not permitted to touch the blade. This has forced Crowe to fight with this weapon in battle, unable to take up another weapon for fear of the sword's escape. I am the power of death incarnate. I am the sword's edge. I hungrily cut the flesh and drink deep the bloody well beneath. Give me your body, and I promise you glory. I promise you vengeance. I promise you immortality, if you will only let me. Antwer, the Sword God. Demons are creatures of vindictive hatred, and their endless schemes are spun out over eternity as they fight for the souls of mortals. Antwer is an ancient being, and no stranger to the servants of the dark gods, having crossed them many times in its long existence. So it is that when Crowe faces the champion of one of the ruinous powers, the blade sometimes recognizes his foe. This often prompts Antwer to try and aid the demon in slaying its captor, renewing its struggle against Crowe, or whispering secrets learned from long years of watching him fight. Sometimes, however, the blade meets an old enemy it would see sent back into the warp. In these cases, it would offer aid to the Grey Knight, hoping to see an ancient score settled. Crowe never heeds the demon's advice, knowing that truth from such a creature can carry an even higher cost than lies. However, the Castellan will take the recorded ramblings of the blade to the prognosticators, that they might be able to glean useful information from this. One such thread of malice from Antwer led to the Battle of the Black Planet, where the blade tried to thwart the plans of Skulltaker, one of his ancient rivals. The Cornet demon had chosen the planet after being drawn there by the miasma of violence lingering upon it. The world had been almost depopulated after a year-long raid by the Dark Eldar, its billions of citizens reduced to a scattering of half-starved tribes hiding in the ruins of their once proud cities. Skulltaker knew that the planet was ripe for the Blood God, and began a ritual to see it cast into the warp, where demons would feast upon the souls of the living and the dead alike. After the prognosticators informed him of the impending demonic incursion, Supreme Grandmaster Heroclix chose Crowe to lead the assault, forming Strike Force Iron Helm to thwart Skulltaker's plans. Teleporting from low orbit, the Grey Knights arrived on the planet's ruined spaceport to find a vista of carnage. Headless bodies piled in mounds as far as the eye could see. In the center of the corpse-choked platforms and landing pads stood an arena crafted from bones and skulls of the slain. Unopposed, the Grey Knights entered the arena to the howls of demonic spectators and the sight of Skulltaker standing in the middle of a sea of severed heads, his servants dragging away the latest victim to the mounds outside. Antwer screamed and cursed upon sensing the presence of the Cornet demon, even as hordes of bloodletters descended upon the Grey Knights. Crowe knew that only he could hold back Skulltaker, perhaps buying time for his brothers to break the demonic host bearing down upon them. The sword exuded eager bloodlust when Crowe decided that single combat with the prideful demon was his only way to prevent it from killing his battle brothers. Though he was loath to act in a way that pleased Antwer, Crowe called out a challenge to the Skulltaker. Before Skulltaker could charge, Crowe used a gift given to him by Heroclix for this very purpose, a vial of the crystallized tears of the Emperor himself. The blessed tears consecrated the ground around Crowe, robbing Skulltaker of a measure of his power. Even with this advantage, it was all Crowe could do to counter the demon's blows and resist the unholy strength powering them. Antwer hammered at Crowe's mind, crying out for release and promising a swift end to Skulltaker, if only the Grey Knight would accept. The Castellan stoically ignored the screams of the blade. For hours, Crowe and the Herald of Khorne dueled, until Skulltaker noticed its form fading as the warp weakened across the planet. Totally focused on slaying Crowe, the demon had ignored the actions of the Strike Force Ironhelm as it purged the world and sealed the rents in reality. With a final curse and a promise of grim retribution, Skulltaker vanished, leaving only the hollow, mocking laughter of Antwer in Crowe's mind. To the righteous we bring hope, to the tainted we bring fire. Castellan Garran Crowe. For most purifiers, the burden of holding back the tendrils of the warp is natural and instinctive, their mind shielding them from the darkness and casting back its hungering gaze. Even so, there are things that press in upon the souls of even the most incorruptible of Grey Knights, horrors from beyond that scratch incessantly at the door to reality. The blade of Antwer is such an object, a scar upon the face of reality. Such is the power of this cursed blade, that wherever Crowe carries it, the taint of the warp stains his surroundings. On Titan, the champion must keep to the chambers of purity, often in isolation. Occasionally, other purifiers will meet with him, but even these brothers cannot be allowed to stand in the presence of the Black Blade for long. When Crowe travels across the Imperium on secret missions of the chapter, he is likewise cloistered away, only venturing out when called upon to enter the fray. Crowe spends his time away from war ceaselessly training, the vicious curses of the demon always in his mind. For years he suffered insults in silence, his scorn a shield against the furious rantings of the dead god. Antwer at first tried to overcome Crowe with sheer strength of will, battering against his minds for years, hoping to break down the purifier's defenses and possess him. When it became clear that Crowe would not yield, Antwer tried a different tactic, offering him untold power, yet still the Castellan resisted. However, the blade's promises became ever more specific to Crowe, and the longer the two remained together, it hopes to one day find a chink, however small, in Crowe's formidable mental armor. Why should I fear the demon? He has no power over me. And with that, we have gone through the lore and facts on Castellan Garran Crowe. Let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a like if you did enjoy this video. Also, let me know what you guys want to hear next time in 40 Facts on the Warhammer universe. Also guys, don't forget, we do have a Patreon page. So with that being said, a simple $1 that you pledge to us will help us bring you more epic 40k content. And as always guys, you know me as the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I am signing out.